work that system.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I find about Alabama is that labor. There's been a lot of information that's coming out since President Donald Trump assumed the leadership as the United States about how the number of black people are employed compared to what it's been like before. But from your perspective, talking about all Alabamians, not just black folks, but all Alabamians. In fact, this whole purpose of you running is for all Alabama and all of Alabama.
You're absolutely correct.
There is no difference in some may make a difference, but there's no difference in our needs. We all need to be taken care of, and we all need to be not taken care of, but have an opportunity to work to take care of our families. Go ahead, labor.
That's correct. My campaign is the people campaign. In running for and seeking this office, it's not about black and white. It's about what's right. And so I am for all people. When we talk about labor, we know our labor forces, the middle class family. Our labor force is the pillar of our nation's strength. We must continue to protect and advance the rights. Protection and the benefits of our labor force need to work with dignity and create better lives for themselves and their families. Too many middle-class families are working harder than ever and not seeing any gains, and fewer people are being able to work their way into the middle class. Okay, so we must strengthen this, in our labor force to ensure that all people, if they want to work, to provide great jobs for them, but more so they're getting paid properly. There's some pay equality there, where they're getting paid properly for the job that they're doing. The people getting paid, but the corporations are getting paid more, and they're not paying taxes on them.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about Social Security. Social Security is a contract between the government and the American worker, and Social Security has been in place for a long time. Talk a little bit about it, and there has been a cry for a long time about Social Security running out of money, this, that, and that, and the other thing. What are your perspectives on increasing the age, or what is your position on Social Security?
When it comes to Social Security, Mr. Howard, as you stated, it's been going on for a long time, over 70 years, but this program is an essential program that's provided the economic security for the families to rely on in the times of need. In the state of Alabama alone, we have over 1 million individuals who are counting on their Social Security. They depend on this income as a safety net. I'm committed to strengthening Social Security. Now, God is kept. What this is all about, it's about money, the money. We must be fiscally responsible, to ensure that we protect those the Social Security for our senior citizens, and more so for those who are paid into this program.
Mm-hmm. Very important. I myself personally am past 70 and pushing into the mid 70s. And Social Security is a key part of my survival for me and my wife and my family. I'm retired, but Social Security plays an important element in that. Okay.
Well, it's also affected disabled individuals and workers,
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Let's deal with an issue that I am personally involved in. I am a warrior from the age of 16 years old, involved in civil rights and racial justice. Yeah. I am a clog in them wheels. I have been through the storm. Civil rights and racial justice. Talk about it.
We must protect the civil rights. This is, the civil rights are one of the most important responsibilities as a member of Congress. We must protect the rights. People have the right to participate in our government and our society without fear, oppression, or discrimination. Unfortunately, some are working to turn back the clock of time and undo the hard-won victories of our nation's civil rights heroes. You know, I'm anxious, very anxious to join in the fight and working to preserve and expand protection for all Americans, empower voters, and ensure that our nation's civil rights legacy is protected. You know, some will have them turn back the 1965 Voters' Right Act, Roe v. Wade. So we must protect that. It must be protected, and we need to have someone at the table to make sure we advocate for that fact.
There is an atmosphere of perceived injustice and racism rearing its head in more ways than one right now in this country. Some say that to not talk about issues of racism and the issues of race is somehow just kind of like letting it go. Don't bring it up. But I'm of the opinion, Mr. Everhart, racism is like the sound of a hum of an air conditioner. You do not pay attention to it as long as you're busy, but when you get real quiet, you can very much hear the issues of racism and segregation and the other issues, not necessarily segregation, but racism in this country. Talk a little bit about that, just from your perspective.
Well, Mr. Howard, you're absolutely correct, but sometimes, you must talk about the things that hurt in order to bridge the gap. This is not a time for recrimination or a time to look back in anger or forward in fear. It's a time when right now we can demonstrate to the world that Alabamians embrace diversity in our communities, in our city, our county, and our state. Okay, so we cannot be afraid to talk about it, but what we have to do is make sure that we embrace it, and learn from the past and ensure that we don't go backwards but go forward.
Yeah, that's one of the things about the issue. It's one of the things about the issue of racism. It's not just among black, not just among white, Puerto Rican, Mexican, whatever you want to call yourselves and so forth. Issues. It is among all human beings. And it's an issue that must be dealt with up front. And I appreciate your candidness in dealing with it up front and as it needs to be. Okay.
What I'm concerned about, Mr. Howard, is this, how our society and values are cynically being used by some to serve hate, fear, racism, and greed. Our Constitution calls for us to hold our government and its elected officials accountable. And that means you and I, the citizens. This is the people's campaign, as I've stated, and that's what our Constitution calls for, a more perfect union. We must establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for a common defense, and more so promote the general welfare and secure the blessings of liberty and ourselves and our prosperity. That's what we must do. That is the preamble of our Constitution. And that's what I'm running on.
Alabama is very much an agriculture state. Cotton and corn and all of the good ingredients that feed us and timber and all the things. I love all of that, Mr. Everhart.
Right.
But I will tell you, I hope from your perspective that you will continue to fight for powerful agricultural avenues and growth in the state because it's the backbone of this state. But there is an avenue for more. Talk about agriculture, and it's important to this state, and that's for all of Alabama. There is nobody that didn't know how to put a seed in the ground and grow some food. But talk about agriculture in connection with additional support through businesses and otherwise and other avenues of industries. Go ahead.
Great. At this time, I'm prepared and ready if elected to Congress. We must stand by our farmers and our ranchers to ensure they can also prosper, with the recent tariffs and that are affecting our agriculture. It's bad. That's a bad deal. We must have sensible policies to support the growing industry of agriculture. It's a critical building block in our country's foundation. Alabama agriculture industry is one of the top industries in more so in the state, more so our district. It's contributing more than $70 billion in the state's annual economy. Producers, distributors, processors, and retailers all play an important role in our food system to get products from the farm to the table, both domestically and internationally. I understand this plight firsthand. I've seen my grandfather, farming, and that was our way of life, right up there in Monroeville, Raleigh Crossing, and he worked tirelessly, to put into that industry. But again, that was his means of living. So we must definitely support our ranchers and our farmers. It's critical.
It is. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I, as one person that grew up on a farm and as part of the Pacer Corporation out of Leeds, Alabama, we are key in the elements of teaching children to grow food, fish, and other items that will help survive and help sustain their families. And raised beds and fisheries, aquaponics. We have a great program here at JFCS High School, one of the finest in the state of Alabama, and we hope to continue it as well. I very much support agriculture in the state of Alabama, but we need additional industries coming into Alabama to supplement our base agriculture.
Right. We're talking about our farmland preservation, food labeling and safety, innovative crops, and, even industrial hemp. That's one of the topics of conversations now. Farmers aging and transition. I'm prepared and ready to stand by and support those legislations that's already been passed, but we need to strengthen the legislation. That's what we need to do to make sure that we protect our farmers and ranchers.
Okay. I believe we're down to three last items. That's the environment, military, and veterans, and poverty. Oh, poverty. I say poverty for last, Mr. Everhart. Let's deal. By no means is poverty last. No way. It is an Achilles heel of Alabama. Okay, go ahead. Environment.
Okay.
The environment.
When we're dealing with our environmental policies, which all involves governmental action at the federal, state, and local level to protect the environment and conserve natural resources, it's very important that we preserve and conserve those natural resources. Environmental policies include the laws and policies addressing the water and air pollution, chemical, oil spills, smog, drinking water, and quality. That even includes the land conservation and management and the wildlife, even the wildlife protection, such as the protection of endangered species. I support these. I support these initiatives. Okay? So, one thing that we have to ensure that there are policies and initiatives to strengthen the Clean Air and Clean Water Act. Plain and simple. We can't skirt around that.
In fact, there's a saying, the Environment Protection Agency is not the enemy of quality of life and clean air and clean water and all those things. It is an ally. Sure. It's a supporter. It is a very key element. Some people think the EPA is it's too many regs, this, that, and other. It's a agency that helps us in our survival to keep clean air and clean water and other elements of the environment livable for human consumption.
Right.
Okay. Let's go to military and veterans. I'm in both of them categories. I'm a veteran as well. I did military. Go. Military and veterans.
Sir. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for your service and all that you've done for our country as well. As a decorated Marine veteran, with more than 30 years of service, I understand the issues surrounding the military personnel. I am a part of that system. And I proudly support the men and women of the United States Armed Forces who sacrifice to keep the nation safe and secure. It's different being on the outside and saying that just as a catchword, we support our veterans. I'm not questioning anybody's thought process in regards to that, but to actually have served and to understand and know what a veteran goes through, a service member go through, and then more so as that individual